Hello, welcome to Milu, Children's Bedtime Tales. Hello, little ones. Tonight, I'm going to take you on a magical journey deep into a wild and wonderful jungle where the trees grow tall and the animals live together in harmony. In this jungle lives a very special boy named Mowgli. He doesn't live in a town or a cozy little house like you. No, Mowgli was raised by wolves and made friends with a happy bear named Baloo and a wise black panther named Bagheera. So snuggle up, close your eyes, and get ready to step into the heart of the jungle. Our story begins now with the Jungle Book. Once upon a time, in the deepest part of the Indian jungle, where vines hang like curtains and parrots fly through the air like flying rainbows, a black panther named Bagheera prowled silently under the full moon. His sleek black fur shimmered as he walked through the grass, his golden eyes sharp and alert. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound. Not a bird, not a rustle of leaves, but a soft human cry. Bagheera turned his head and padded closer to the sound. Near an old abandoned ruin, hidden by thick trees and wildflowers, he found a curious sight. A wicker basket wrapped in cloth, with a tiny baby boy inside. The baby had round cheeks, wide, curious eyes, and tiny hands that reached up toward the sky. Bagheera blinked. A human child? Here? Alone in the jungle? He sniffed the air. There were no signs of other humans nearby. No footprints. No smoke from fires. No voices. The baby had been left behind, or perhaps something had happened to his family. Bagheera felt a rare tug at his heart. The child looked up and smiled at him. "You are not afraid," Bagheera murmured. "That is brave, little one, but you cannot stay here. The jungle is no place for a human baby unless..." And with that thought, Bagheera gently picked up the basket and padded through the jungle. He knew of a family that might help, the Seeonee wolf pack. Bagheera arrived at Council Rock, where the wolves gathered under the moonlight. The pack leader, Akela, stood tall on the great rock, his fur like silver threads under the moon. Father Wolf and Mother Wolf were curled up with their cubs in their den, resting after a long day. When Bagheera arrived with the baby, all the wolves were curious. "A man? Cub?" Akela said with interest. "Here, in the jungle?" Mother Wolf walked forward and looked at the baby. Her eyes softened. "Let him stay," she said gently. "He is helpless and innocent. I will raise him as my own, alongside my cubs." "He will need protection," Bagheera said. "Shere Khan, the tiger, will not approve." Then he shall be protected, Akela declared. He is one of us now. Let him be called Mowgli. And so the baby boy was adopted by the jungle. He grew up with the wolf cubs, learning the ways of the forest. He ran through the grass on all fours. He learned to listen to the wind, understand the birds, and speak to the animals in their own languages. Bagheera watched over him like a silent guardian. And then there was Baloo. Baloo was the sleepy, honey-loving bear who taught the young animals the law of the jungle. He was kind and wise, and though he looked slow and lazy, he had a heart of gold. He took special interest in Mowgli. "Come here, little frog," Baloo would say. He called Mowgli a frog because of how he wiggled when he walked. Baloo taught Mowgli how to find food, how to stay safe, and how to respect every creature in the jungle, from the tiniest ant to the strongest elephant. "You must never hunt for fun," Baloo said, "only when you are hungry, and you must always share. The jungle provides for all who respect it." They swam in rivers, scratched their backs on tree trunks, and took long naps in the shade. Bagheera would join them from time to time, reminding Mowgli to be alert, smart, and cautious. He was stricter than Baloo, but he cared deeply for the boy. Mowgli was happy. The jungle was his home. The birds sang to him in the morning, the wolves played with him in the evening, and the stars watched over him at night. But the peace would not last. Far away, in the dark part of the forest, lived Shere Khan, the tiger with eyes like fire and a heart full of pride. He hated humans. He feared their fire, their weapons, their cities. And when he heard of a man cub living in the jungle, he was furious. "He must go," Shere Khan roared. "The jungle is no place for man." He approached the wolf pack and demanded that Mowgli be handed over, but the wolves refused. "He is our son," Mother Wolf growled. "Then I will come for him myself," Shere Khan said, his voice like thunder. Bagheera knew that the tiger would not give up. Mowgli had to leave the jungle before it was too late. It broke his heart, but it was the only way. "You must go to the man village," Bagheera told Mowgli. "You are not a cub anymore." Mowgli was angry and confused. "I don't belong there. I belong here." But deep down, he knew the truth, so he agreed to go. On their journey to the man village, Mowgli and Bagheera encountered many dangers. One of the most troublesome were the Bandalog, the monkey people. They were wild, noisy, and playful, but they had no leader and no rules. They kidnapped Mowgli and took him to the ruins of an ancient city. "Teach Teach us how to make fire, the monkeys cried. Teach us to be like men. Mowgli was trapped, scared, and alone until Baloo and Bagheera came to save him. With the help of Kaa, the great python who could hypnotize with his eyes, they scared the monkeys away and rescued Mowgli. "You must be careful, little brother," Bagheera said. "The jungle is full of shadows." Then came the day when Shere Khan returned. He roared across the jungle, declaring he would kill Mowgli by sunset. But Mowgli had learned from the jungle. He had learned from Baloo's kindness, from Bagheera's wisdom, from Kaa's power, and from the wolves' loyalty. He climbed the cliffs and retrieved a burning branch from a lightning-struck tree. He stood on the riverbank, fire in hand, as Shere Khan charged. "This is my home too," Mowgli cried. The tiger roared, but when he saw the fire, he skidded to a halt. He backed away slowly, growling and hissing until he turned and ran into the dark jungle, never to return. The animals gathered and cheered. Mowgli had defended his place in the jungle, not with claws, but with courage. But Mowgli knew it was time to discover where he truly belonged. He walked to the edge of the jungle, where the trees gave way to fields. Across the river, he saw a girl carrying a water pot. She looked at him, smiled, and dropped the pot on purpose so she would have a reason to come back. Mowgli followed her. He turned once to look at Baloo and Bagheera, who nodded proudly. "Go on, little brother," Bagheera whispered. "Your journey is just beginning." Though Mowgli entered the man village, the jungle never forgot him. The wolves told stories about the boy who ran with the pack. The trees remembered the sound of his laughter. And on quiet nights, Bagheera and Baloo would sit under the stars and remember their little man cub with love. Because once you are part of the jungle, you are part of it forever.
Hey, sweet dreamers. Tonight we drift high above the rooftops and treetops, past giggling breezes and fluffy skies, to a place where a tiny grey cat opens a bakery among the clouds. She whisks with whispers, kneads with purrs, and lets muffins rise with moonlight. But you might not make it through this dream unless you can speak cloud language or nap while standing. So, before your pillow gets too cozy, tap the like button and subscribe, only if you want more sleepy adventures like this. Now snuggle in, maybe grab a blanket buddy, and let's drift into tonight's tale together. You tiptoe into the Garden of Dreams, where the grass is made of warm sugar crystals and the trees sway with cinnamon breeze. A silver thread sparkles just ahead, a cloud ladder hanging lazily from the sky. You climb gently, your fingers brushing against air so soft it sighs. Higher and higher you go until the stars wink at you from eye level. And there it is, a small bakery nestled in a cluster of sleepy clouds. The walls are made of baked meringue, firm yet fluffy, and the windows are sugar glass that hums lullabies when touched by starlight. A sign dangles above the door, written in whipped cream letters, whiskers and whirls, fresh bakes daily. Inside, a cat with fur like storm silver and eyes like twin saucers of milk stands on a marshmallow stool. Her name is Moringa, and she's humming a tune only clouds seem to understand. She has a tiny blue apron dusted in flour and a spiral-bound recipe book that smells faintly of lemon and lullabies. You watch as she opens the book, revealing a page titled Dream Puff Pastries for cloud dwellers and sleepyheads alike. She dips a paw into a jar labeled Snore Sugar, and when she sprinkles it, the room lets out a sigh, as if the very air has gotten cozier. Moringa's oven doesn't run on heat. It runs on bedtime stories. She whispers one about a squirrel who danced on Saturn's rings, and the oven glows pink, then golden. Some say the oven won't bake unless the story makes the clouds giggle, she tells you with a wink. Suddenly, a gentle rumble sounds above, and you look up to see a jelly bean zeppelin floating closer. It's delivering this morning's milk rain and feather flour. The delivery pilot, a sleepy tortoise in a tiny aviator hat, yawning so deeply it makes you yawn too. "Morning," he says, though it's always nighttime up here. Moringa thanks him with a swirl-shaped cookie and hums again. This time the humming sounds a bit like a lullaby you once forgot. She flips another page in her recipe book and says, "We'll need a sprinkle of drift dust and a dollop of moon butter for this next batch." She pulls open a drawer and out floats a glowing jar with the label, "Do not open if you're wide awake." You hold your breath, but Moringa giggles and opens it anyway. A soft, silvery fog rises, and suddenly your toes feel warm, your eyelids heavier. A little yawn sneaks out of you. Just one, maybe two. On the countertop sits a rolling pin that rolls itself and a mixing bowl that hums in harmony with the oven. "Everything in this bakery loves to help," Moringa says. "Even the measuring spoons have opinions." One spoon jumps up and shouts, "Too much cinnamon," before diving back into the drawer with a snort. She pours the moon butter with careful pause and flicks in a dusting of giggle flour. "It's what makes cupcakes bounce when you bite them," she whispers, almost like a secret. You peek out the sugar glass window and notice a soft parade in the distance. A line of drowsy creatures drifting your way. A fox wearing pajamas, a pair of giggling glowworms, a bear snoring while floating inside a bubble. "Customers," Moringa purrs. But we never rush here. Everyone arrives when the dream is ready. Suddenly, the smell of baked dreams fills the bakery. It smells like your coziest blanket and the middle of your favorite bedtime book. Moringa opens the oven with a soft whoosh, revealing a tray of puffs that glow with a sleepy shimmer. She sets them on the counter, and one floats slightly above the tray, spinning slowly like it's sighing in its sleep. She hands you one. "Try it," she says. "But only if your dreams are extra cuddly tonight." You nibble. It tastes like a hug and a lullaby, and the last 5 minutes before you fall asleep. Just then, a door behind the oven swings open. It leads to the pantry, but you catch a glimpse inside. It's not a normal pantry. It stretches on forever, with floating shelves that hold things like bottled giggles, teaspoons of thunder, and a pillow that meows. "Don't go in too far," Moringa warns gently. The pantry loves to borrow visitors, especially ones with curious eyes. Outside, the Cloud Bakery starts to glow a deeper blue, like it knows nighttime is stretching across the world below. The bakery hums a soft tune that settles into your bones like a warm cup of cocoa. The tortoise's zeppelin rumbles back by, trailing a banner that reads, "Sprinkle Festival tomorrow, be us, bring your own snooze." Moringa giggles again. "We'll need lots of help preparing. I hope you'll stay a while." You nod, and the cupcake in your paw lets out a tiny purr. The clouds curl tighter around the bakery, like they're snuggling in too. You wake inside the dream, still perched on the marshmallow stool, with the scent of sugar dough and toasted moonflakes floating around you. Moringa the cat is already stirring a giant mixing bowl that seems to float just above the countertop. She hums softly, and you realize the notes of her song aren't just music, they're ingredients. Every hum adds a swirl of color to the batter, like music is folding itself into flavor. The bakery is quiet but busy. The measuring spoons are arguing again. Less salt. No, more sleep dust. And the rolling pin is chasing a runaway blueberry that giggles each time it bounces. "Today's the Sprinkle Festival," Moringa says, as she ties on a fresh apron embroidered with tiny yawning stars. Only happens once a dream cycle. Everyone brings their sleepiest ideas. She opens a tiny drawer and takes out a jar filled with sleepy sparkles that glow like glowworms napping under blankets. "We'll need to mix this with our marshmallow fluff," she says. "Don't forget to stir gently, or the fluff gets ticklish and floats away." You watch as the sleepy sparkles rise from the jar like fireflies and sink into the mixing bowl. The batter sighs. Soon, the first customer floats through the meringue door. It's a tall stork with spectacles, wearing a scarf knit from tiny pillowcases. 2 pillow puffs and a cozy cruller. He mumbles politely, handing over a coin made of dream dust. As Moringa bakes, more visitors arrive. A trio of dancing turtles with teacup hats. A little cloud fairy with a tea bag skirt and sugar cube shoes. Even a sleepy dragon lands gently on the rooftop, yawning peppermint smoke from his nose. He only eats when he's dreaming, Moringa says. Otherwise, he's too shy to chew. Outside, the festival begins to stir awake. Tiny cloud kiosks puff into view, each one decorated in glowing jelly string lights. There's a cookie carousel powered by snoring kittens, and a nap nook where you can rest on a giant stuffed dandelion. Some say the dandelion tells stories in your dreams, only if you nap long enough to hear them. Moringa takes out a very old recipe card and gives it a gentle pat. "We're making the centerpiece today," she says. "The sleepy sprinkle surprise." She brings out a curious box from beneath the counter. It looks like a treasure chest, but it has tiny paws and occasionally purrs when no one's looking. She brings out a curious box from beneath the counter. It looks like a treasure chest, but it has tiny paws and occasionally purrs when no one's looking. Inside are ingredients that don't exist anywhere else. Fluff root, sai syrup, and a twinkleberry that blinks once, then disappears into the batter. You stir as Moringa adds a drop of whisper milk. A mist curls out and paints a memory in the air. It shows a field of yawning daisies under a sky made of lullabies. The batter giggles again. From above, floating pastry balloons drift down. Each balloon carries a sleepy wish written on a cookie. One reads, "I want to dream of jelly bean trees." Another, "Let my socks always find their pair." Moringa giggles. "We bake those into dream Danish delights." Suddenly, the cloud outside rumbles, not with thunder, but with applause. It's time for the sprinkle parade. You step outside the bakery and float gently onto the cobbled marshmallow path. Moringa joins, carrying a tray of the freshly baked sleepy sprinkle surprise. The treat glows like bedtime itself. Layers of drowsy custard, sparkle-stuffed puff pastry, and cloudberry glaze. Creatures from all around glide through the misty fairway. A narwhal in pajamas floats by inside a jelly bubble. A clock made of melted caramel chimes softly with every giggle. The parade is led by a bouncing mushroom band, their caps puffing with lavender with each step. Then, high above, a soft sprinkle begins to fall. Not rain, but tiny sugar stars. They land gently on your nose, your cheeks, your shoulders. Each one melts with a cozy fizz that makes your eyes want to close just a little. Moringa sets up a tasting table. You help hand out slices of the sprinkle surprise to everyone who floats past. The pastries glow gently in sleepy colors: lavender, pale rose, soft honey. Every bite makes your dream sweeter, says Moringa. And she's right. Each nibble makes the stars twinkle slower, the clouds sink lower, the lullabies hum softer. As the parade winds down, a curious creature toddles by. It looks like a teacup with legs and a bow tie, and is gently snoring. Ah, Moringa says, that's Sir Sip-a-Lot. He always shows up at the end to collect leftover dreams. You watch as he slurps up a spilled wish, then tips his teacup hat politely and continues down the path, leaving a trail of warm, minty steam behind him. Back in the bakery, the glow is dimmer now. Moringa sweeps up with a broom that hums lullabies and hangs the closed until the next dream sign on the door. She looks at you with a sleepy smile. Tomorrow we'll bake the moonberry muffins, she says. If the moon's in the mood to share, that is. You yawn again, deeper this time. Even the spoons are napping now, and the oven has curled up into itself like a sleepy armadillo. Outside, the cloud bakery glows like a nightlight in the sky. You blink slowly, eyes full of sugar sparkle sleepiness, and find yourself still inside the cozy cloud bakery. But everything feels softer now, dimmer. The chairs are curling up like cats, the counters are sighing, and Moringa is humming a lullaby that barely tickles the air. I saved you one last treat, she whispers, holding out a puff pastry shaped like a crescent moon. This one doesn't go in the display case. It's only for helpers who stir with sleepy hearts. The pastry is warm in your hands, glowing softly. The moment you take a bite, a breeze brushes past you, cool, gentle, smelling like warm milk and starlight. A window slowly swings open, revealing the sky beyond. The sprinkle festival is ending, and the sugar stars are fading into soft glimmers. But the dream still hums around you. Come on, Moringa says, padding toward a spiral staircase made of braided licorice vines. There's one last place I want to show you before the dream ends. You follow her steps as the staircase carries you upward, twisting through layers of fluff and memory. Each step sighs softly under your feet. At the top, a small attic room waits, a round space with a domed ceiling made of sleepy glass. You can see all the cloud villages from here, floating like gentle ships on a sea of midnight blue. This is the Dream Watch, Moringa says, where I keep an eye on the dreams that need a little help. Sometimes they tangle, sometimes they flicker, sometimes they fall behind and need a pastry boost. On the table in the center is an odd object, a snow globe filled not with snow, but with swirling dreams. Little figures move inside, a boy riding a cookie dolphin, a girl playing hopscotch with stars, a baby elephant reading a bedtime book to a dandelion. You lean in close. For a moment, you think you spot yourself, holding a whisk, laughing as sugar stars tumble into your pockets. Dreams need bakers too, Moringa says, her tail wrapping sleepily around her paws. Someone to mix in sweetness when things get too sharp. Someone to sprinkle in softness. You nod, your head tipping slightly to one side like a melting marshmallow. A small bell rings in the distance. It's not a real sound. It's more like a memory of one, drifting through the sky, like a song someone once hummed to you while tucking you in. Outside the attic window, a parade of sleepy creatures is curling up under the sky. The turtles are dozing in their teacup hats. The cloud fairy is nestled in a hammock, woven from licorice vines. Even the bouncing mushroom band is tucked into a marshmallow tent that snores gently with each bound. Moringa nudges a pillow toward you. It's shaped like a cinnamon roll and smells like vanilla fog. You can nap here until morning, she purrs, or until your next dream picks you up. You curl onto the pillow, feeling the softness rise to meet you. The attic lights dim on their own, turning the dream into twilight. The sugar-sprinkled stars outside blink one by one, like they're waving goodbye. As your eyes begin to flutter, Moringa curls beside you. Some say, she murmurs, that the moon only rises when it smells fresh cookies in the sky. Others say it's just shy and waits for bedtime. Either way, I always leave a crumb on the windowsill. You smile, your thoughts floating like jellyfish in warm water. Everything slows down. Your breath, your blinking, the hum of the oven somewhere below. You think you hear the measuring spoons snoring. One of them murmurs something about just a pinch more nap time. The wind outside whispers through the licorice leaves. Sleep now, it says. We'll bake again soon. And just before your last thought melts into a puddle of dreams, you hear Moringa's voice like a ribbon of cocoa and stars. Good night, little baker. Now, the cloud bakery fades behind your closed eyes. The sugar stars have all tucked themselves into pockets of mist, and Moringa's gentle humming has drifted off like a lullaby on the breeze. Your cozy cinnamon roll pillow is all you need now. Feel your arms settle. Let your toes grow still. The sprinkle festival is over, and you've baked enough joy for one night. Somewhere far away, a dragon snores softly into a teacup, and a dandelion tells a final bedtime tale to the wind. All the magical ingredients of this sleepy dream have melted into a quiet hush. You're safe here, warm and still, held in the soft pores of the sky. The world tilts gently to cradle you like a lullaby, and every breath you take carries you deeper into your dreams. Let go, little one. Let the sleep whispers carry you. The bakery will still be there, waiting in the clouds. End of story. Sleep well, little one.